Hello. By way of introduction, just a very few brief words about myself. I'm Philipp Hoffmann-Häusler and I'm the project lead for home care research at Euromonitor International. Euromonitor International is one of the leading strategic market intelligence providers globally. The article I'm discussing today with the title Home Care, Where's the Industry Heading? Discusses general trends and developments that we're seeing happening in the industry. To contextualize, I think it's important to mention that this article was first published in the beginning of the year as part of the January-February issue of HPC Today, so it doesn't take into account the developments under COVID-19. At the same time, all of these trends remained relevant during COVID-19, also going to continue to be relevant as we transition into a new normal. I think that's important to understand. The article just generally discusses kind of the contrast between developed and developing markets, right, in terms of market potential. It also looks into the high level of commoditization of home care, especially in developed markets, so a lack of engagement with cleaning among consumers in these markets. That means there's low margins, a high percentage of promotional activity, a certain passivity in general among consumers when it comes to cleaning. Cleaning is or was taken for granted before COVID-19 happened in 2020. I think that's an interesting development to mention. There's kind of a re-engagement of consumers with cleaning because hygiene has all of a sudden kind of emerged as the most important topic during 2020. Another big paragraph in the article is looking into kind of elaborating on the topical issue of sustainability. Yeah, so what has been done in terms of sustainability. It then also looks at it from more of the big picture perspective. Yeah, so home care is obviously not like this isolated industry. It interacts very much with adjacent industries such as consumer appliances, apparel. Yeah, so all of these industries are involved and are stakeholders both in home care and cleaning as well as hygiene. Yeah, so I think we have to stop thinking about these industries as silos, but rather as like a broader industry, right, with a lot of touch points and overlaps. Yeah, especially now that hygiene has increased in importance for consumers, that raises the question who actually ultimately owns home hygiene. Yeah, it's not just home care, as I just mentioned, it's also appliances. We've got a lot of product developments within the space of appliances, such as ionization, steam, robotics. Yeah, it also takes us to technology and technology-enabled product development. All of that is happening within that same space. So that kind of creates potential upset, potential battlegrounds, because all of these industries are going to try to own hygiene, but it also kind of encourages partnership, and that's something that we've been seeing, especially in the context of smart home, auto dosing and laundry machines, right? So we have alliances being formed between home care and appliances players producing auto dosing detergents. So that's a very interesting field. That's something that I discuss in the article. And then sustainability as one of the biggest topical issues of our times. Yeah, and again, when I said that these trends are going to remain relevant, that is true, but at the same time, during 2020, there's been some kind of inversion there. Yeah, so it was all about sustainability before COVID-19 happened, and now that consumers are kind of presented with that very apparent health threat, that's posed to them by the virus. The main focus is now on hygiene and efficacy. So there's some kind of inversion happening there. In the past and over recent years, brands had started to kind of position their products around softer claims, leaving out harsh chemicals, being more transparent about the ingredients that are used in their products. And now out of a sudden we see a re-emergence of bleach, right? Bleach was a dying product category. And there's a massive increase in the production and use of chlorine during 2020. So that is something that brands have to manage to wrap their head around, right? How to navigate that field. And it's very challenging, but comes with a lot of opportunity at the same time. because now during this health crisis, that's the time when you can actually properly engage with consumers, re-engage them as well, find new ways to engage them and to educate them as well. Government stepped in with educational campaigns, consumers actually listening and proactively educating themselves about cleaning. So that provides a very fertile ground for home care to grow and to perform strongly. So yeah, that's one big aspect that's being discussed in the article. Then also thinking about e-commerce, right? That's something that has started a few years ago, but never really picked up in home care, right? We're still talking about a relatively low percentage share of e-commerce in distribution of home care products. At the same time, direct to consumer business models are more of a commonplace, especially in developed markets. And now during COVID-19, there was even a necessity for consumers to order their products online, because of offline retail disruptions, long queues in front of supermarkets, and exposing themselves to the risk of contracting the virus when going to the supermarket. So a lot of consumers have gotten used to now buying their products online instead, and that's something that we expect to continue, step out of that pandemic and enter a new normal. That's just like, again, it's very much like scratching the surface, right? It doesn't do justice to the complexity of the whole subject. That's for another conversation. But I think it's also equally a good conversation starter, right? So if you're interested to explore any of these areas in more detail, if you want to have a deep dive into some of these topics, we also have a hygiene ecosystem that we developed. It's precisely discussing what I mentioned before about how different industries are involved in home hygiene. Then I'm available. I'm here to have that conversation, and I'm also obviously very interested in understanding your take. Because obviously we already know much more about the situation and what the implications of COVID-19 for home care are, but at the same time there's still a lot that we are not entirely sure about, and that's something that I'm very excited about exploring further as we get more clarity. I hope you enjoy reading the article. I hope you find it informative and insightful. And please reach out to me if you have any questions, or even if you disagree on some of the points. I'm more than keen to listen to your opinion on that. Thanks a lot.